Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to this very distinguished panel for your preparation and your testimony here today. I'm going to ask Ms. Townsend and Mr. Bergen, both of you had commented on something I'd like to follow up a little bit on. And Ms. Townsend, my experience as a former federal prosecutor, there is almost a counterintuitive sense that when you take down an organization, either an organized crime or even a violent drug gang, it's in the aftermath of that you see some of the greatest, it's not just a succession thing, there's some of the greatest disarray as they reassemble themselves, often in terms of violence. And you've both looked at this as almost a point of opportunity. What should we be looking for, and what opportunities do they actually present in the aftermath of the taking down of Osama bin Laden and the subsequent attempt to try to reorganize?
This is a critical time. I mentioned in my testimony the targeting opportunity. While we won't know publicly what was in the compound, this is a time when they will have to talk to one another. There was reports in the Pakistani media about this meeting that led to the interim leader being appointed, the head of the Taliban, Saif al-Adil. How can such a meeting take place when our Pakistani allies are not providing us with targeting information? That would have been a gold mine opportunity to have taken advantage of. But that's what our military and intelligence community are focused on right now. They are in disarray. They will have to have discussions, meetings, in order to resolve the chaos. And so all those represent tremendous opportunities. And that's where you want to focus your immediate military resources. Now, you know, it'll be interesting to see whether or not this chaos then permeates out into the affiliates, because right now they represent, as far as I'm concerned, the most immediate deadly threat to us, particularly al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula. But we need strong allies. Make no mistake, we have a world-class intelligence community and military capability, but they need real partners. We have not had very good a real partner in Yemen, in President Saleh, and we have had a very uncertain partner in Pakistan. We need to look at ways to how do we, you know, the Congressman said manage the Pakistan relationship. That's right. But they need to produce. It's not that we can walk away from them. They need to produce like a partner produces in terms of targeting capability.
Mr. Bergen?
I don't have anything to add to that.
Okay, thank you. Congressman Hamilton, as many in this nation, are tremendously appreciative for the work that you've put into this effort since September 11th. You've looked at a lot of different elements, but I've noticed twice today in your testimony you focused on this issue of the visit-exit system. Can you tell me a little bit more about why that's important to you and why you think that's relevant to our protection of the homeland?
No, you just have to keep track of these people when they come into the country. I think the easy thing to do, we lose track of them. It's a difficult thing to do. And seeking a biometric exit system, I understand, is expensive and has a lot of problems in it, but I think we've just put it off far too long. It's not just a question of catching these people and stopping at the border. Some of these people are going to get in. And once you have people in here illegally or even legally under restricted time limits, you have to be able to keep track of them. And that's why you need an exit system as well as an entry system. So it's a real vulnerability in our system to say, okay, we're going to catch these people at the border. Everybody's for that. We don't want the bad guys coming in. But if they do get in, just forget about them. You can't do that. You've got to keep track of them, and that's what the exit system is all about.
Mr. Coleman, for your testimony, you identified the world on the Internet and the communications that are taking place there. In a free society, it's difficult to try to limit the activity on that, but you've given some thought to this. How do we take advantage? And in light of what both Ms. Townsend testified to about the current moment in which, wouldn't we want to be able to have them operating in such a way that we'd be able to at least have access to the platform that they're using for communications as a means to have a potential ability to influence their activities?
Yes. I mean, I've often said that terrorist websites are like the spy satellite that we never launched. If we're diligent about it, these websites, these forums, allow us to monitor the communications taking place at a ground level amongst both al-Qaeda's lieutenants, its supporters, its would-be supporters, people in the West. And increasingly we're seeing individuals who are popping up who were not recruited by any individual cleric or individual mosque. They're being motivated purely by what they see on the web. I think you're right. I think part of it is we have to keep our eyes on this. The concern right now is that we're allowing these websites to operate, and it's not entirely clear that all elements of our law enforcement and intelligence agencies are aware of what's going on there. I can tell you only this through personal experience and through the fact that we have an instance where we can point to directly, Fort Hood, where we had a known individual who was infamous as being a recruiter for al-Qaeda and extremist groups, Sheikh Anwar al-Awlaki, who was in open communication with an individual who was a U.S. military serviceman. And those communications, from what I understand, were not entirely innocent or benign. And that is a warning sign. It's a warning sign that as much as this information can provide tremendous clues, if we allow this to proliferate unmonitored, we're giving these folks virtual sanctuary to do whatever the hell they want, and that's very worrying. So it's fine to keep these websites and these forums online as long as we are closely monitoring them and tracking the people that are using them, obviously without violating freedom of speech. But the folks that are on there are dangerous. I mean, it's not just computer nerds. The people that are on these forums include bomb makers, include top-ranking Yemeni al-Qaeda operatives, include recruiters for Pakistani Taliban. So we really have to make sure that that FBI and the other government agencies are really watching what's taking place.